South Korean movies have exploded in popularity in the 21st century, winning over fans worldwide and making serious money at the box office. One big reason for this success? Their knack for creating intense action thrillers that are not only expertly made, but also dive into dark, gripping stories. In the US, these films have built a loyal fan base among movie lovers, looking for something edgier than the usual polished Hollywood blockbusters. Here's a look at the best Korean action movies that put Korean cinema on the global map. The Chaser. We kick off our list with The Chaser, a Korean crime thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Directed by Na Hong-jin, The Chaser is a gritty, intense film that follows a former detective turned pimp, Jung-ho, as he races against time to track down a man who's kidnapped one of his girls. What starts as a search for a missing person quickly turns into a much darker and twisted journey, as Jung-ho discovers he's chasing someone far more dangerous than he imagined. The film shifts from a typical crime thriller into a relentless chase, where Jung-ho's desperation and moral conflict makes him a flawed but determined protagonist. When we talk action scenes in The Chaser, we're dealing with raw, intense violence that feels both real and unforgiving. The action is far from glamorous, it's brutal, and every fight or chase scene feels like it's a battle for survival. One of the standout action scenes happens towards the end of the movie, when Jung-ho closes in on Kang, and it becomes an all-out brutal fight. The violence is messy and chaotic, as both men fight with everything to survive. Every punch, kick, and slam feels real and impactful. It's not about clean choreography, but rather how far these characters are willing to go to achieve their own ends. This isn't your typical bad guy versus good guy fight. It's two desperate men willing to do whatever it takes to win. The brutality of the scene, the close calls, and the sense of dread throughout make it a heart-pounding, nail-biting sequence. The fights aren't pretty, but they will keep you on the edge of your seat. If you love dark, intense crime thrillers that don't shy away from raw violence and moral complexity, The Chaser is a must-watch. Alright, we move on to A Bittersweet Life, a slick, stylish, and absolutely brutal Korean action flick that dives deep into loyalty, betrayal, and revenge. Directed by Kim Ji-woon, the story follows Sun-woo, played by the effortlessly cool Lee Byung-hun, who's the trusted right-hand man of a powerful mob boss. Sun-woo is the king of calm and control. He handles business smoothly, keeps emotions in check, and doesn't flinch in the face of danger. But everything goes south when his boss asks him to keep tabs on his young mistress, who might be cheating. The catch? If she is, Sun-woo's supposed to take care of it. Things take a turn when Sun-woo hesitates and shows mercy, a decision that doesn't sit well with his boss. From that moment on, the movie shifts gears into full-blown chaos, as Sun-woo finds himself on the receiving end of the mob's wrath. Betrayed and hunted, he fights back, not just to survive, but to take a stand against the betrayal. Now, let's talk about the action, because A Bittersweet Life doesn't play around. The fight scenes are raw and beautifully choreographed, blending chaos with style. One of the most memorable action sequences comes towards the end, when Sun-woo takes on a group of mobsters in an abandoned building. Armed with nothing but pure determination and a gun that runs out of bullets way too quickly, Sun-woo fights like a man with nothing left to lose. There's nothing fancy about it, no crazy martial arts or over-the-top moves, it's just raw, brutal survival. Every punch, every stab, every struggle feels real and intense. Sun-woo takes hits, gets cut, and bleeds, but he keeps going, fueled by a mix of anger and heartbreak. You're not just watching a fight, you're right there with him, feeling every moment. The movie's ending is the big payoff, with a final shootout that's both thrilling and heart-wrenching. Sun-woo doesn't back down, even when the odds are stacked against him. He fights with his calm determination that's both super cool and deeply emotional. If you're into action flicks that hit hard, both physically and emotionally, A Bittersweet Life is a must-watch. The Man from Nowhere is the ultimate action-packed revenge thriller. Directed by Lee Jung-pum, the film follows Cha Tae-sik, a quiet, mysterious pawn shop owner who's developed a soft spot for his young neighbour. But when the girl and her mum are kidnapped by a ruthless gang involved in drug and organ trafficking, Cha's world is flipped upside down. Now, he's on a mission to bring them back. And let's just say, Cha is the kind of guy you really don't want to mess with. Let's break down some of the action that made this movie an instant classic. This movie is full of intense action, but the final fight? Totally mind-blowing. Tae-sik charges into the trafficking ring's hideout like a one-man wrecking crew. Armed with just a knife, he takes down a bunch of henchmen in tight spaces. Every move is quick, sharp, and brutal. No wasted effort. Every slash and stab hits hard and ends fast. This leads straight into the final showdown with Ramuran, the ruthless enforcer of the ring. This fight isn't about fancy moves or crazy stunts, it's pure survival. Just the two of them, face to face, armed with knives. You can feel the tension even before they start fighting. It's fast, brutal, and messy. You feel every slash and stab. And the best part? There's no music, just the raw sounds of blades clashing and heavy breathing. Tae-sik takes some hits, but this guy is a beast. If you're into high-stake action with the dark edge, this movie is a must-watch. Released in 2010, I Saw the Devil is a brutal, twisted thriller that'll leave you questioning humanity. Directed by Kim Ji-woon, this Korean film takes revenge to an entirely new level. The story follows Kim Soo-hyun, a special agent, whose fiancé is brutally murdered by a sadistic serial killer named Jang Kyung-chul. Rather than bringing him right away, Soo-hyun goes full vigilante, tracking the killer down and getting revenge in some pretty disturbing ways. The film dives deep into the darkness of vengeance, showing just how far one man is willing to go to make the killer suffer. It's a mix of psychological torment and intense bloody action. Now, the action in I Saw the Devil is next level. Raw, brutal, and totally unforgettable. The first big fight sets the tone perfectly. Soo-hyun corners Jang at a gas station, and things get ugly real fast. This isn't some flashy, choreographed fight, it's dirty, messy, and brutal. Every punch, kick, and stab feels heavy, like you can feel the pain through the screen. And when Soo-hyun starts using weapons, man, you really see how far he's willing to go. This isn't just about beating Jang, it's about making him suffer, and it's hard to look away, even though you kind of want to. As the movie goes on, the violence only gets worse. Soo-hyun keeps coming back for more, each time finding new ways to hurt Jang. These fights aren't about fancy techniques, they're all about survival and punishment. And the final confrontation at the greenhouse? It's so brutal and emotional. By the end, it's not even about winning anymore, it's about how revenge completely destroys everyone involved. If you're into gritty, emotional, and no-holds-barred action, I Saw the Devil is a must-watch. As a film lover who's seen a lot, you think you've seen it all. But then a film comes along and completely blows you away. Oldboy is that movie. Directed by none other than Park Chan-wook, who is making his second appearance on this list, Oldboy is hands down one of the best South Korean action movies ever made. As the second film in his Vengeance trilogy, it stars Choi Min-sik as Oh Dae-soo, a regular businessman who gets randomly drugged, tortured, and locked up for 15 years. Crazy, right? When he's finally let go, he's on a mission to find out who ruined his life and why. Alright, let's dive into the insane fight scenes in Oldboy. Oldboy is widely praised for delivering one of the best fight scenes in cinema history, a corridor fight scene. Now, this one's got a reputation, and for good reason. Tae-woo, the main character, is locked in a narrow corridor, fighting off a gang of thugs with nothing but a hammer. The whole thing is shot in a single, unbroken take, which makes it feel even more intense. You're watching him swing that hammer, hitting guys left and right, and there's no fancy editing or cuts to make it look smoother. It's raw. You can feel the weight of every blow, and it's pretty brutal. There's no clean hits here, he's smashing and fighting for his life, and you can tell. Each hit sounds heavy and painful, with the thugs groaning and struggling to stay on their feet. It's chaotic, it's messy, and it's a battle to the death. The whole scene feels so real. You can almost feel the exhaustion in Tae-woo's movements. By the end of it, he's barely standing, covered in sweat, blood, and bruises. He's not a superhero, he's just a guy who's desperate and doesn't have much time. The fight drags on in a way that makes you feel every second of it. It's not about fancy choreography, it's survival. The fight's a slow burn of sheer violence, with Tae-woo pushing through his pain and fatigue, just trying to get to the next guy. And that's a wrap for today's video. We hope you enjoyed our list. Drop down a comment below letting us know what you think about these movies, which one's your favourite, and which one you'd love to check out next. Don't forget to hit that like and share button if you enjoyed the video. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss any of our top-notch videos. Catch you in the next one!